There we go.
Yeah, as always.
No, but this time he did give us a long warning. We were just very engrossed.
No, but so what has happened is, before we get to the major bone of contention.
Yeah, you keep looking for this thing.
Okay.
That is there.
Yeah, no, but
so
this is just a part of what we're talking about.
Yeah. So that is the thing. Now even everybody is starting to come into this now. Yeah.
And we also have.
So Nikhil's also joined us, but yeah, 41 for 1. But the major talking point is that catch.
Was he out or not out?
Yeah.
Firstly, the rules. The rules are, I think, very clear. Correct me if I'm wrong. Nikhil, are you there?
I am. Yeah, I am.
So we're just talking about the rules here. That catch, we're divided in the studio here. What do the rules suggest? The rules are clear that the ball cannot make any contact with the ground, right?
Yeah, that's a given, right? Obviously, if it can't make any contact with the ground, that's a given.
Now, even if you, what we've seen here is that there are two fingers that Cam Green, was it right?
Yeah, it was Cam Green.
Cam Green gets two fingers on the ball, but I see from where I stand, I see the ball still touching the ground, and that for me is not out. Siddharth Chain disagree.
Okay. Let's hear what Siddharth and everyone else says.
See, he was in control of the catch.
That's fine. Nobody's saying
he had two fingers underneath the ball. Now, clearly 33.2.2 of the MCC playing conditions state that the ball was not, he was not in control of the catch, he was in control of the catch.
Yeah, that's fine. But then
read 33.2.2
we are clear on one thing, that the moment the ball makes contact with the ground,
it's not out.
Exactly.
It was out. He was not in contact with the ball.
I want you to answer one thing.
No, again, let me
tell
you
my first question to you.
I'll give you one particular instance. Wait. I'll give you one particular instance.
No, we're not talking about Clark yet.
We have to talk about Clark.
But later on, I need you to answer something first.
Yeah, please.
Did the ball make contact with the ground or not?
Doesn't matter. Fingers were underneath the ball. No. Fingers were underneath the ball. But if the fingers are underneath the ball, then it doesn't matter. Read 33.2.2.
No, but then going by that.
It does say that.
No, but
it does say that.
Open 32.2.2.
But then so then what you're saying is that there was no contact with the ground then.
What he's saying is it doesn't matter if there was contact because he had two fingers underneath.
He had it doesn't matter.
So that's what if it's on the ground, you're saying it is, I have my finger, right? So if you're saying that there was no contact, the finger was underneath, that means the ball didn't make any contact with the ground.
Not necessarily, it can bulge through.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be not out.
Exactly.
Even if your fingers
the
are
moment the
under
ball touches the ground.
No.
It doesn't matter.
on, guys.
It doesn't matter because you got 2 feet underneath. You got 2 fingers underneath the
I
ball.
understand
You're
that.
in control.
No,
that is
no.
the simple thing.
No,
if
that's
he was
not
not in
how it
control, if it bobbled out and he wanted to say,
Nikhil, I think we need you to
intervene here
here
right now.
and tell us what exactly the rules are and whatever your interpretation is.
Okay, I think if the ball, whether in control or not, that's my understanding, whether in control or not, if it comes in contact with the ground, then it should be not out. Okay?
Exactly.
That's my understanding of it. But having said that,
listen to the full.
I'm not too sure that the ball did touch the ground.
Exactly.
I'm not too sure about that to begin with. So I'll tell you what happens. It's a very close call. Here, the crowd was very disappointed. In fact, let me just give you an idea. When the replay was first shown on the giant screen within the stadium, everyone thought he was not out and that he will stay on. Okay. Firstly, before I forget, I think this is a historic moment that we have just seen, because this, I think, is the first decision that has been, or a first close call that has been taken without the soft signal.
Yes.
So the first time without a soft signal, we've seen a call. And what this now tells us that soft signal or not, debates are going to continue. And I remember doing a video on Sports Today, and I think that was pretty much what I concluded at the time, that yes, soft signal is out. Many people wanted it out, but that will not really end the controversies when it comes around closed catches, because soft signal is just another indicator. The call is eventually taken by the third umpire, and till such time we have like 100% accurate technology that can tell us, not in terms of what the cameras catch, but in terms of other technology like ball line technology you have in tennis, where you get to know whether, it's touched the line or not. If you ever bring up a technology like that with a cricket ball, where it touches the ground and it tells you, until you have a technology like that, there will always be debate over whether something has touched the ground or not, because you're again relying on camera and you're relying on camera angles, which have admittedly become much better over the years. You have 24 odd cameras trying to catch every angle, but still not 100% certain in terms of what we see, and what we see, whether that's actually what's happened or not. So going back to the dismissal and why I say that not really sure whether the ball touched the ground or not, the crowd in the first impression of the first replay did think that it had touched the ground. And so that's why they were really happy and they thought he's going to be not out. Then we heard a lot of boos when the third umpire did take that decision after seeing multiple replays. We in the press box were divided. I think it was a 50-50, and the debate wasn't around whether the fielder had it in control or not. The debate was around whether it has touched the ground or not, because again, to our understanding, if you're in control and it touches the ground, it will still be not out. So you have to ensure that no part of the ball touches the ground. But now I'll tell you how I saw it. Now, if you look at it from camera angles, it does give you that impression that it has touched the ground, which probably Harshit was stressing upon, and you also had Gargi stressing upon on that in the studio, I heard. But, always remember that the camera angle, now I'm just trying to explain, you're in a ground like that. It's always the camera on the opposite end that can catch that, right? It's never the same end, because you only get the pack from behind you to see the fielder, and that may not be conclusive. I would have liked to have seen a few behind the fielder replays as well, but we weren't shown too many of those. I don't know whether the broadcaster in India showed. So all the replays that were shown to us were from the front angle. Now remember, the front angle is fielding in the slip will always be from the other side. Let's say the long off side or wherever the camera might be. Okay, now, so from there you're cutting to it. Now what happens, the camera is looking down. It's at certain height. It's looking down, okay? So it'll never give you a clear sort of an indicator, because it's not parallel to the ground. It's looking down. So that creates an illusion, first thing. Secondly, the pitch is always higher than the rest of the field. So the pitch is on a higher field, and there is not like a slope which you have at the Lords, but each pitch from that playing pitch, you till the square, and then after the square, there's a very gradual slight sort of a slope in every ground, which will always be slightly higher than that even, the 30-yard circle if you're fielding. So what happens is, if you're trying to catch it from the other end, and you're trying to look down anyway from an angle, and then the pitch is the one that will probably tell you where it is. And what happens is, because the pitch is at a higher angle and you're seeing the pitch, the catch when it's taken, it's slightly little lower than the pitch. So when it goes down, it does give you an illusion that it's touched the ground. But what you're actually seeing is the level of the pitch, not really the level of the ground where it's fallen, which could be about 10, 15, 20 yards away from that pitch. So that's the illusion that it creates, which is why you get an impression that he's touched the ground. He may not have touched the ground. I don't know whether the magnified image was shown or not. It wasn't shown here. You guys would have seen it.
No, it didn't get shown.
If the magnified... Okay, so the magnified image sometimes gives you a slightly better sort of an understanding of seeing that. Now, the only point of contention, and I think it's worth debating, so first things first, I tried to clear the doubts about when you do feel it's touched the ground, it may not be absolutely correct. It could be based on that illusion of a slight slope, and that slant from the pitch and from where the camera is actually trying to catch it. So that's the first thing to really take note of. The second bit, and I think which should be debated, is that for the third umpire to be certain, he needed to be shown a few other angles, one from behind, while you cannot really see the ball that touched the ground or not, but it does give you an indication in terms of where it is at that moment. So maybe that is something that can be looked at, and those angles should have been shown. And that magnified image, sometimes we get that magnified image. I don't know why it wasn't shown here. Maybe the third umpire was shown, but either way that you look at it, it is going to be a contentious decision. Whichever side you look at it, if you're an Indian fan, you'll think, decision could have gone in India's favor. If you're an Australian fan, you would think that no, decision could have gone in Australia's favor. Again, not a fan of the soft signal, but I think a soft signal today kind of could have probably helped solve this puzzle where you are 50-50, because the on-field umpire then would take a neutral view, and a view that the camera is not catching, and a view that the camera and the illusion that the camera creates is not created for him because he's there right on the field. His instinct and that moment that he saw could have helped. So I don't know, not trying to set a debate here, but the soft signal wasn't really a bad thing. Huh? It wasn't really a bad thing. But having said that, if the soft signal was there, I reckon the on-field umpire would have given it out. And
if
then,
the soft signal was
if it
there,
was a
truth be
50-50
told, I
sort
think
of
people would have blamed that again.
Yeah, exactly. See, okay,
Yeah.
now soft signal anyway out of the picture, right? But having said that, Nikhil, every time we talk about these contentious or close calls, the thing is, going by convention, the benefit of doubt, if you don't have conclusive enough evidence, goes to the batter.
That's
Maybe he
changed
felt,
now.
yeah, but that doesn't really, that's not a rule if I'm not wrong.
No,
I think
what-
that's just a convention.
Convention, which is why I said convention, going by convention. That is what has happened till now, or rather should have happened in this case as well. If it wasn't conclusive enough, and we're talking about two things here, we're talking about camera angles, how is it then conclusive enough to be given out?
Nothing is conclusive enough.
No, fair,
Let us-
fair point. No, fair point. I think, Harshit, that's a fair point. And in fact, even that's what I thought, that if it's 50-50, you give the benefit of the doubt to the batsman. But we are assuming it's 50-50. It's your and my interpretation that it's 50-50. Maybe in the TV umpire's mind, it wasn't 50-50, which is why I'm saying I would love to have seen some of those angles, which actually kind of tilted the scales in favor of the fielding side. I'm sure he may have had those that he decided to rule it in the favor of the fielding side. But I'm saying why I put that whole angle and where it's being shot at and the slant into perspective is because if Indian fans are, at the moment up in arms saying, hey, this is daylight robbery, it's not quite, huh? It's very close. It could have gone either ways. And the third umpire went one way.
Yep.
By the way, I mean, I'm just trying to say, yes, you could still argue 50-50 in favor of the batsman. But I tell you what, it's cricket, right?
Yeah.
Margins. It's a game of margins. Small little decisions here and there happen. It'll happen to any team. Some may go in your favor. Some may go against you. But that's how the cookie crumbles, I guess.
See, that is the way. Look, there are two certain aspects as to. You remember why there is an umpire's call when it comes to hitting the stump? Remember?
Because of the technology.
There is an equation.
Yes.
There is an equation that accounts for an error. In the case when you look at from a camera angle, there is a thing called parallax error. What you see on the camera might necessarily not be the case. That, it may have touched the ground, may have not touched the ground. Remember, looking at it from a vision or for a lens, it's very, very different. Now, he had two fingers underneath. That was no doubt about it whatsoever. Whether he was not in control, that is the subjective part.
And that's where I think the
And
third umpire made that call.
The third part is the judgment part. Now, judgment in the case of an umpire, that is where you can get the criticism and all that. But again, as I have mentioned, the Indian cricket team fan wants to cling on straws. And that is why he will point out this session that we were robbed. You be in the position of the umpire at that point, whether he's given that judge, because it's happened to an Indian batter. Now the judgment here is who's the third umpire? The third umpire said, okay, looking at all the things, he looked at all the angles, and there is no rule in the manual, there is no rule which says that the benefit of doubt should go to the batsman.
Yeah, that's an assumption or like
It is no rule. It is no rule at all.
That is why we were shocked that, he didn't go in favor of the batters despite having
That's
so
why.
many
And
things.
also the other thing is that as you were talking about analyzing all of it, and we also said that viewing the same evidence that the third umpire did, we couldn't conclusively tell if it was touching or not, because again, you have to account for that illusionary effect of
Parallax
could it be
error.
touching. Yeah. But what I could tell, and again, why I said it was out, because even I thought it's a pretty close call. It's not daylight robbery as some might claim. It's definitely not a bad decision. It's a close decision. Where I thought it would be given out, my interpretation was that he had two fingers underneath. Thereafter, whatever you see is not conclusive enough. What cannot be doubted beyond the shadow of a doubt is the fact that he had two fingers underneath. So that's what I think swayed the decision in the favor of the bowling team.
I think what me and Harshit were saying was, we acknowledge the fact that Green had two fingers under the ball. It's just that it seemed like the
There was
ball
contact.
touched the ground,
Exactly.
and there was a bit
I
of
am
a bounce over
not
there
denying
as
the
well.
fact that
You used two words before that. It seemed that.
Although even this seems
Parallax error.
No,
Let
no,
us
no,
just
no.
yes. You look at it from a camera, you look at all the other things, it does happen. At the end of the day, it is not a camera that will give you the conclusive evidence. It is the judgment. And judgment Can be 50-50.
No.
But-
Of course it can be.
there's no
This
soft
is
signal
not down to judgment. This
It
is down
is.
to interpretation.
Yeah.
Interpretation is
Interpretation
judgment.
is to have done the right thing then. Interpretation of rule 33.2.2
But
of the
they're
playing
interpreting
conditions.
over the
Interpretation
camera
is
only, na?
no.
But
So
then
two
that you
things
can't
here.
help it. See, if you look at MCC rule 33.2.2, what does it say? It has mention of the contact on the ground.
No.
Yes,
it
of
doesn't.
course it
Yeah,
does.
we just went through
Just
it.
go through that rule, Anurag.
Yeah.
Just open that tab.
Just
It's
open
there.
that thing. Yeah, just open that thing. Okay. If the ball is held in the hand, 33.2.2.1, the ball is held in the hand or hands of a fielder. Even if the hand holding the ball, he caught it right. He caught it touching the ground, or is hugged to the body or lodges in the external protective equipment or lodges accidentally in a fielder's clothing, a catch will be fair.
That's fine, but nowhere.
So
is
he
it-
was fair.
We are talking about the ball.
No,
making
no, no.
contact with the
But
ground.
Siddharth, that is saying the hand getting in touch with the ground.
Yeah.
It does
So
not mention the
hand
ball
that took
getting
the
in touch with the
catch,
ground.
holding the ball.
No, but we are
No.
debating whether
Yes,
the ball
doesn't
made
matter.
contact with the ground.
Doesn't
or not.
matter. If the ball comes in contact with the ground, then it's a not out.
Yeah.
If the ball comes in contact, what it's trying to say is if you've got hands there in control of the ball, and then the hand comes in contact with the ground, it nowhere in that law, and you could repeat it again, does it say if the ball comes in contact with the ground?
Yeah, because see, when you're normally scooping up the delivery, when you're scooping up for the catch, this was a scoop catch, right? This kind of situations will happen. A scoop catch is never clean. You will always debate on the fact that, see, when you do it like this, there will be some parts of the ball that will touch the ground.
But in this case, it seems.
No,
like
no,
there
no,
was
no.
more
Does
than
it say
some.
that? Does the law say that?
No.
No, this is,
Are
we're
you-
not talking about the law now. We are not talking about the law.
But what is the law?
You're not talking
No,
about
no,
the
no.
law.
But the law
It-
clearly says.
Not
But
now.
the law clearly says that the ball cannot make contact with the ground. We know
Exactly,
it.
that's
Yeah, it cannot. It cannot. That's without doubt.
It
The
does
ball
not.
cannot come in contact with the ground, whether you're in control of the ball or not. Like,
Yeah.
for example, I mean, give an example. I mean, if I hold a ball this way, the ball is under like this, and I dive, and I'm completely in control of the ball. So the ball then ends up touching the ground this way, but it's in my control. I'm not juggling in this way, and I slide with the ball, but it's in control. It cannot be out. The ball touching the ground is a not out, no matter which part or how much
Just-
part or whatever. That's the
just-
not out. That I agree.
Just trying to paint a
But
different
what-
situation here. That Evan Lewis catch, we all remember full and dive, because just bring that up because we remember that catch very well. Full and dive had, so he was also more proper control of the ball. Had the ball made any sort of contact with the ground, would you not have then said the same thing?
Again, the same problem, the Clark dismissal, Sydney, 2008, what happened? Ganguly edged, Clark got the ball, but then when he tumbled, his fingers were over the ball, but then he grasped it. But what happened at that time? The umpire misinterpreted it. Misinterpretation of not any other thing, judgment.
No.
Yes.
That was just error.
What a misinterpretation of judgment means error only. Okay, I'll make it even simpler for you. Error. Okay. Error in judgment. Okay.
Yeah.
Here, it was not as if he had grasped the ball on contact or in control. He was in control and he had taken the catch out on a scoop.
But Siddharth, being in control or not being in control is not the subject matter.
It is the subject matter.
No,
Of course it
the
is.
subject
not.
matter is whether the ball made contact with the ground or not, and did we have conclusive evidence to
If
say?
there were no fingers underneath the ball, then we wouldn't be having this discussion. But there were fingers underneath the
Also,
ball.
the key word Harshit just said
No,
was
no. The ball under control bit, I think Harshit is right. The ball under control doesn't come into play. The ball in control or not actually comes into play. For example, once you've taken the catch and it's spilled out of your hand or not, then or you've tried to throw it, that's when the umpire looks at it, whether you had it under control at one point and then it's fallen out of your hand, or you're trying to throw it up in the air to celebrate and it slipped out of your hand. Once he concludes that it was under control, you took the catch once and for all, it was complete, it's done. I'm saying the rule about it touching the ground is just plain and simple. It's got nothing to do with in control or not control. That ball touches the ground, it's a not out. Whatever part of the ball touches the ground, 10%, 20%, 30, 40, 50, it's a not out. It cannot be, you've got it in control. I gave an example. I may have the ball in control like this, diving full length. If it touches the ground, it's not out. It's as simple. In this case, he's got it underneath. But even if I've got it underneath at this half of the ball and the other half is touching the ground, even though I may be in control, it's still not out. But I think the debate here is it may not have touched the ground at all, is what I'm saying. It's just that illusion that it gave. So there's no debate about it not touching the ground, or whether touching the ground and but it being in control will allow it out. At least that's how I understand it.
So
Well, I'm just waiting, Nikhil, for you to be surrounded with fans, and it'll be interesting to see what the fans really feel about it.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
the mood over there.
Not too many out. Not too many out, as you can see, right? It's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
empty, the
exactly.
streets. I'm right outside the
Exactly.
gate.
So, yeah.
Because they're all, unlike me, they don't have work to do when they come out to watch a cricket match. So they all sit and enjoy a cup of chai and, cupcakes or whatever. It's tea time or whatever their choice of beverage. So they're all enjoying that. Post game, we'll get to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Looking forward to
Okay.
those thoughts from the fans. Because clearly, this is something that's going to divide everyone. I feel that the cricket viewing
Unnecessary,
population is going to be. Sorry?
No, it's not unnecessary. It's subjective.
Unnecessary.
No,
It's subjective.
Yeah, very subjective. That's the reason it's unnecessary. It's subjective.
Arey?
Yeah.
So it
Subjective,
could
the
go
whole
either
nature
way
of
in that
subjectivity
matter,
is that it's going to divide you.
Because it's unnecessary controversy. Unnecessary.
It's not
Because
unnecessary.
looking at the
No.
looking at the reaction of the Indian cricket team, so-called fans, they will always say that they were robbed and the Australian
No,
team cheated.
you-
But that is
you-
the way it is.
Rob-
It's unnecessary. There was a
Yeah,
chance.
that's
of
fine.
goal.
They have the right to say that you're not robbed of anything. That word's premature at this stage. We'll still have to wait and see how the game pans out tomorrow. And then perhaps you can think of bringing in this word called robbed or not, whatever it is.
I'm not saying it. It's the fans who are saying
Whatever
it.
it is, we'll have to wait
No
and
one
see.
said that.
Of course they have.
Oh, they will, trust me.
Oh, it's already out on social media.
Yeah.
It's already out.
Doesn't take much time now.
Yeah. It's all. But this is the Indian cricket
We
team
have-
fan. We can't be delusional about it. They will do this, and it's already out. Check it out. Check the
Let's
trends
just
out.
hope it's not this moment that ends up defining the match. Let's just say that.
You-
Because this is not how you would want the second ever World Test Championship final to be remembered. So hopefully there's much more, cricket to talk about and
Yep.
better moments to talk about than the one that's divided us. Right, Nikhil?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we can, debate this till the cows come home. But you just have to look at the context of the test match. 444 is what you're chasing. Never been done, I guess. You could take out numbers, maybe do a video of if it's happened before or not. But I doubt it. And, you've lost one wicket. I don't know in terms of percentage, but I'm not giving more than 5% for India to win this game. It's, I think, pretty much done and dusted. Or I base that on the basis of the pitch that's also here. It's very tough to get a big inning or very big partnerships going. Yes, you will get fighting 30, 40s, half centuries, 60s, 70s from a batsman or two, maybe even 100. But I don't think that's going to be good enough. So you're staring down the barrel. You're staring down. Maybe I don't want to sound very pessimistic right now, but that's the reality. You're staring down another defeat at the WTC final, and I think we'll spend not today, maybe tomorrow. We'll spend the entire day discussing what really goes wrong with India and these big ICC finals because they failed to do it since 2013. It's been a decade now, and I think that is worthy of a discussion because that's where they're heading at the moment. I said, barring a miracle. I doubt you're going to see anything positive. If you ask me to make a prediction, I think anywhere between lunch and tea tomorrow we'll be done with the result of the game.
Okay, so India anyway need less than 400, by the way. Less than 400. They're only 45.
Not saying
so-
much.
Yep. So one of the angles that's coming.
No, but see, you can't tell this. Everything is dark. You can't tell if the
You
ball is
can't tell
touching.
anything.
You can't
tell. And that's what I'm saying. When it comes to inconclusive evidence, boss, there's no wrong call.
We
Exactly.
actually see the seam.
No, the seam, you can only see the top part of the
Top
seam.
part of
What
the
you're seeing there is
bottom.
finger marks.
finger marks.
Put your glasses on.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Those are the.
Exactly.
Shots being fired. Nikhil, we might need you back here earlier to pacify the whole situation.
Who's firing shots?
firing
No, she's legit not wearing her glasses. That's what I was telling her.
Exactly.
So you can't see, it's too dark.
Apart from
100, 200x magnification also. It didn't touch the ground. Simple. Okay, move on.
At least you can't tell if it did.
You can't. Yeah, you can't. You can't.
Anyhow, let's just reconvene now.
Yeah.
Final session of the
Final
day.
session, yes. Another
Crucial big
2.5
session coming up.
hours. 2.5 hours.
Very crucial session.
Very
important
crucial.
session coming up.
Very crucial.
As has been every single session this test. Is that also
Exactly.
copycat of that shot? Yeah.
Yep. As usual, Stark with that changed action of his just is not effective.
No, why is he going for a short ball against Rohit?
He's
Anyway.
trying things, but it's just not working. He's not getting bounce from this deck. That's the problem with Mitchell Stark. Okay. So let's reconvene at 10:30.
We'll
Yes.
all see you. Hopefully, Nikhil will also be with us after
He will, yeah.
it is
10:30 to
stumps.
10:55. Yeah.
Yeah.
45.
All right then, guys. This continues to be something we remain divided on. We'll have a poll, in fact, towards the end of the day when we return. So yeah, stay tuned to Sports Today. Tap that bell icon. Lots of action coming up. There's hockey, football, and a multitude of other sports to look forward
Yes.
to. Until stumps, then. Bye bye from
Bye-bye.
here
See you.
in the studio.